Welcome to They Mostly Pot Out at Night. Mostly, I am Salem, joined by my co-host Graveyard.
Hello.
This is episode 115 of our weekly All Things Horror podcast. This week, we take a walk through the maze of hallways in the Abaddon Hotel. Sometimes a haunted house, sometimes a paranormal investigation, and sometimes a community theater? Yes, we'll get there and more. But there are always spooky ghosts and clowns that like to watch. So we're taking on the Hell House LLC franchise. I believe there's 4, but we're only doing 3.
We're doing the Hell House trilogy.
Yeah. And then we're doing the other one, I think, when the other one comes out. Whatever that is.
Yeah, 2025.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess these are fairly new. I mean, the first one is 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So not even a decade old.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna dive right in. You got anything else you want to?
No,
add?
I mean, also legs in frame. Because you know, there's a lot of legs that you briefly see in frame, like on the stairs, especially. So spooky things.
Well, that's a lot. It's not as bad as Skinamarink. At least we got that.
That is true.
Okay, so Hell House LLC. Essentially a group of 5 friends, 4 guys, and of course the girl. And there is at least one gratuitous butt shot. This is for the girl. That's probably why she was hired. But so they essentially decide that they're from New York, and I guess I don't know if it's their only job, but it is their job right now of making haunted houses. They've been successful in the past, and for some reason that is not explained in this film, but is retconned in the later films, they decide to go to a suburb of New York City and take over an old abandoned hotel and then make that into a haunted house. That is the Abaddon Hotel in the town of Abaddon. And they make it, and they call it Hell House. That's where Hell House LLC comes from. So essentially, these 5 friends move in to the house. I think it was September, right? Or August.
It was September, because I will get to that timeline, because the first title you see, it says 80 days before opening. And I'm going, if it's September and it's 80 days before opening, that's put you end of November. Like, that's clearly wrong. But yes, yeah, it's like September 8th-ish.
Whatever it is, it's a couple of months before Halloween. So they walk through the creepy hotel. You know, everything's like, you know, broken and kind of downtrodden. There's fake spider webs everywhere, that are not supposed to be fake yet, but they're very clearly fake.
Yes.
And then, you know, they're just going around. They find an old spooky piano and, you know, old, you know, creaking floorboards, and their spooky evil basement, which is just a dirt covered like fruit cellar, with a very generic pentacle on one wall, and on another wall is a pentagram, and of course there's a upside down cross put next to the pentagram so that you know it's evil.
Well, of course.
So, you know, and of course everybody's super scared of the basement because, you know, evil Satan things happened here. And they find a bunch of Bibles, which the girl is very afraid of for 30 seconds, and then they're forgotten about and never talked about again. So essentially they fix up the house, they get the electricity working, and they just, you know, for the 2 months, whatever, before Halloween, they just work on making this haunted house. Now, of course, as things go on, I guess I should mention, this is found footage film.
Right. So it starts off with the girl being interviewed.
Right. Yeah.
That's the rapper. Yeah.
Right. So it's the people filming the, you know, their interactions and their things that are happening around the house. Anyway, so you see, there's a couple of spooky things that happen, like the one guy who's does his like nightly journals. You see like a girl behind him, um, super spooky stuff, and then you see there's this c- group of clowns that they put down in the basement, and one of those clowns like appears in the house and then moves. So it's like it's obviously there's a person in there. And then he finds out that the only other two people in the house were in a totally other room. And so he's like, oh no. So he goes down in the basement. And of course, the clown is sitting where he was before. And, they're like, oh, look at this. He clearly moved. He clearly moved his head. And the guy goes, look, this thing can't move his head at all. And he grabs the clown's head and then turns it. So that argument didn't sit well with me. But
I
anyway,
it was to show the point that they couldn't afford animatronics. I mean, that's all manual.
I guess so. Yeah, so basically it's like this stuff keeps like stepping up. Um, I, I mean, I know the one guy, the shaggy hair guy, the girl appears behind him and then like scares him, and then he hides under the blanket like he's 4 years old.
Mhm.
And then he peeks his head out, and the evil zombie girl is there, and then he gets like kidnapped and disappears, and then they find him later on like in the basement,
Yep.
like just in a trance, and they have to like snap him out of it. I don't. Is there anything else before?
They before the event,
Yeah,
they hire some actors, and Joey Mustache Creeper Man tries to hit on the only other girl that's there, not Joey, whatever his name is. We also then get Joey, who's able to like pull out his eyeball briefly, a little bit.
yeah, but that's like literally all he. That's it. He's not worth mentioning. He doesn't do anything. He's only a side note later. That's it. That's the only
Mhm.
thing that matters. Anyway, so yeah. So anyway, the event happens. They open up the haunted house, and we get like footage of like someone who's a visitor of the haunted house, which is filming the whole thing. I don't get these, because like haunted houses don't let you film in them, like on
And
purpose, because you're ruining it for everyone else with your
cor-
like your giant light and shit. I don't.
right, considering Hell House LLC is a well-established thing, do you think they would not allow cell phones?
Right.
Which, remember, this is 2009, so it's not like their cell phones are fantastic anyway.
Yeah, but no, they were holding like a camcorder.
Oh yeah, that's very obvious then. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a cell phone. It was like a camcorder, and they like were letting them do it. Like the bartender guy even commented on their camera, so they knew it was there.
Right.
I just don't get why. Anyway, but they go through it. It's a pretty fairly generic haunted house that they like wander around. And then as they're getting close to the basement, like the event happens, which is never explained, is never really shown. I mean, what they do show you is not like quote unquote an event. I don't understand what exactly happened. But anyway, so what they show is there's what was supposed to be down in the basement. There's the three creepy clowns leaning against the wall. One of them was one of their actors, the Joey guy.
Yep.
And there was a girl that was chained up to the ceiling, like for real. But she was in on it. She was an actress. But Joey, that guy was supposed to be down there to keep an eye on her to make sure nothing happened to her.
Right, because she's in her bra and panties,
Right? Yeah, she's just like
chained
there.
up,
Right.
open to people.
Right. So like, yeah, they're doing the haunted house thing. They're in the basement, and all of a sudden, like quote unquote, the event happens. I'm just gonna ruin it because they don't really show it till the end. But the people that were filming down there, all they see is like a person in a robe and a hood, like comes out of the dark,
Yep.
and that's it. That's the event. I mean, Joey, I don't know what, like even before anything even happened, he gets up and just runs out of the house. He
Well,
runs past all the guests and stuff, and like nothing has even happened yet, but he's out.
oh no, because the girl goes, "This isn't supposed to happen. It's not part of the show." Then Joey just runs.
Yeah, he just runs away. She screams, like the robed person, like I guess kind of goes near her, and then like goes near the person with the camera, and that's literally the event. That's all you see.
Hmm.
And then there's a scene later on where um like Sarah, the girl, is like grabbed and stabbed by one of the other guys, and then he like cuts his own throat.
Yeah, Mustache Man.
Right, the creepy guy.
Yes.
And that's all that's really shown on camera. They talk. I mean, there's so many people talking about how scary it is and how completely unexplainable all of this is. We'll get into that, but like,
Well, yeah, I mean, it ends with like, including the crew, the people that own it. 5 people supposedly died of that, and then another 10 of the visitors died in this quote malfunction to enough that where paramedics come out and fire department. It shows a little bit of people trying to escape the room. I think we see Sarah go into like the attic, and like Jeff is like hanging from the ceiling. So that's maybe like 2 people, 3 people confirmed ish
right,
dead.
right, but yeah, and I guess Sarah is the one giving the interview,
Mm-hmm.
and then like she gives them all the tapes and everything that supposedly the police didn't have either. And they watch all the tapes and they find out that, oh, she died in the tapes. So like, oh, where is she? Oh, she said she was going to be in 2C. So they go to the hotel lobby like, oh, can we go to 2C? And they're like, oh, there is no 2C. Oh, she was talking about the Abaddon hotel. Oh, so spooky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she was like supposedly a ghost the whole time.
Yes. And then
That's like the big twist.
the people interviewing her, 2 of them go to the hotel, go to 2C, and then disappear.
Right. Yeah, the investigator and her like camera person. And the only other note we really get is that Joey was the only other person that was like survived that may have seen something, and he killed himself.
Right. Other than Mitchell, who didn't go.
No.
Yeah, he didn't go. He's the one that was reviewing the tapes that found out that Sarah was dead the entire time.
Right. Yeah, but he stayed back to review the
Yeah.
tapes, and her and the camera person went in. Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes.
there's not a whole lot to it. That's pretty much the gist of it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I haven't seen it before. I mean, I've heard of them before. I really had no interest in watching them before. This has kind of like solidified it for me. That I really was right in passing this franchise by when I heard about it. Yeah, I can't say I was a big fan. I'll talk about more
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. For me, I know I watched this. I don't exactly remember when it said it is a generic found footage haunted house type thing. We know people that are absolutely obsessed with this movie, right? And
I don't get it. I mean, there's so many other better found footage movies. I don't get it.
like to me, especially after we did the house is October built, it seems like it's like, hey, let's make something supernatural with that. Hence, Hell House LLC. That's what I really got on the rewatch is it really felt like a continuation of the house is October built in my head at least. What if that movie but supernatural stuff really happened? I know, especially the first one, I know a lot of people praise this movie. It's on other lists and other things that I watch for just a kind of like bonkers found footage. But that's what I had. I said I don't remember my first thoughts on it when I saw it for the first time. I don't remember when I watched it. So, do you want to go first with your highlights?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Documentary style I did like. I mean, I liked how they tried to organize it. I
Mm-hmm.
almost immediately was angry at every person that was involved in like their documentary interviews, but the idea of it was solid. I really think this movie is a good example of the modern satanic panic.
Mm.
To where, you know what I mean? Like the satanic panic in the 80s is like everybody had to like convince you that things were Satan worshippers, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and these days it's like you put a fucking pentagram on something and it's Satan worshippers. Like everybody just knows that. And there's such a generic like villain and shit like this. You know what I mean? Like just because there's a pentagram on something or an upside down cross, now all of a sudden it's satanic and evil and like you can't go anywhere near it and like the devil himself will come out of the wall. It's
Hmm.
like all of these movies. It just reminds me of like The Conjuring. It reminds me of all of these movies that it's like, oh, the devil is everywhere. The devil is here. Like, we're the only ones that can protect you from it. And it just bothers me and how that we have this like satanic panic revival with this. And it's like horror movies, which are supposed to be defenders of this shit, are really buying into it. There's a huge like subsection of horror films that I think are pushing the modern satanic panic, and this is definitely one of them. I don't know if it's necessarily a high, but I thought it was an interesting set piece for that. It's very very generic and very, I think, harmful overall
Hmm.
to like just supernatural stuff in general. Like there are so many supernatural things you could have done. Like evil Satan is just lame. Like it's been done. Do something different. Even I mean it's found footage. Don't say anything at all.
Yeah.
But whatever. And then the fear games that they were having, like little things popping up here and there, like, oh, you're being scared or not scared. I thought it was okay done. I'm kind of stretching for these here because I really did not like this movie at all, and I try to have at least three of them.
Hmm.
And that's my three. So
Um, it had decent lore building, right? It wasn't taking, yeah, is it a little generic? It is, but it's still taking and building that foundation of the lore of it. Like, okay, what really is the Abaddon Hotel? Did this guy really kill people or people disappear in the hotel? They laid the groundwork for good lore because it's just like an urban legend in the town of Abaddon. No one really knows if it happened or if it didn't happen. Maybe they knew about it, maybe they didn't know about it. So I really enjoyed that. It had the decent, framework for it.
well, I mean, what it pisses me off that they. Well, I guess we'll get there, but they say so many times like, oh, no one knows, no one knows. And the second one, they just go to the library and look up a newspaper, and there's a fucking article right there.
Right.
Like, what do you mean nobody knows? This was 20 years ago.
Right.
It's not that long ago. There's still a lot of people around that would know exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. This movie takes a lot of fucking leaps, and I just they all piss me off.
That's fair. I truly believed when they said they have no money. They really sold it because it really looks like they built Hell House LLC with $0.
Well, yeah, they basically just like shuffled things around. They bought like a bunch of rubber masks
Right.
and like a jug of fake blood, and that's
Hmm.
really all they had.
And somehow they're a successful business, but I believe they had no money for this for reasons that we'll find out, and as the franchise continues. Um, so when Fat Guy Out, I laughed because it's just so random and out of place. It was hysterical to me.
Yeah, he just gets up and starts jogging. I mean, there's no fear on his face. There's nothing happening. He just gets up and just casually jogging out. Like, again, doesn't say anything to anyone. And then they like, oh, we tried to talk to him later and he killed himself. Like, okay, like
He
he left
arguably,
before. Yeah, he left before anything even happened.
if other people survived, he had the least of it.
Right. Yeah.
But I thought it was just so hysterical because I watched it a couple of times of him just getting the fuck out of there, and I thought it was absolutely hysterical. I don't think it was meant to be funny, but I laughed at it, so I had to mark it down. I'll get roll into my low points. Holy shit! Like the first part of the interview with Sarah, the audio of the interviewer was shit. It was garbled. It was awful. And
Well, yeah, because it's well, one, it's found footage, and two, she didn't actually have a microphone.
but it was better the second time they visited her and talked to her. So it was just the opening part that it was just shit. So it's very inconsistent with the audio of it.
Well, it's yeah, they're not professionally recording it. She showed up, and so they were like did an impromptu interview. They had the mic on her, but like for all interviewers, half the time you can't even hear them at all. It's like the
Yeah.
people are just talking in response to questions that they're asking, but you don't hear them. It was probably meant to be that.
And it's fine if it was that way the rest of the thing, but it bothered me to
Well,
open up
again,
that way.
this is footage taken and used in a way that it was not meant to be used.
Right. No one looks good with a mustache. I'm sorry. It's
Tom
it
Selleck,
okay. But
checkmate.
the guy's mustache was inconsistent over the 18 days. Like it was there, then it wasn't, and then all of a sudden it was back, and then it gets back later on. It's just weird.
It's a hipster mustache. They do that.
It is. And yeah, Satanic Panic, buried Bibles. Oh my God, they're buried Bibles. Okay. Wow, they're Bibles in the hotel. Because
Yeah, like I
hotels have
said, it was
Bibles.
intense fear for 30 seconds. They're like, "Oh, look, there's a bunch of books. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I'll kick one over. Oh, they're Bibles." And she's like, "Bibles?" Like she was like, why are the Bibles in the basement?" Like she was all super scared. And then cut next scene, she was totally fine.
Yep.
Like it was just bizarre. It was like she was doing community theater for a second.
Yeah. Okay, if you think you see an evil presence in your room, you're gonna hide underneath your sheet.
Yeah, like I was laughing hysterically. I'm like, what are you fucking 4 years old? Like the blanket is not going to protect you.
The monster can't get me if I'm
Right.
under the covers.
Yeah, I'm like, are you fucking serious, dude?
And yet it's still got. I'm like, what does it care?
Well, because he came out. You gotta stay under it.
Stupid. It really was stupid. And quite honestly, holy shit, like that hotel setup is awful. It's like a person-wide corridor to get to everything. You can't get to the kitchen from this way. You gotta go around all these other rooms. What?
Well, they intentionally made it that way so that the haunted house had a beginning and an end. Like if it was just a house, people could wander around anywhere. Like a haunted house has to be a path through.
Yeah, but it stays that way through the franchise. So
well, yeah, because they don't actually change anything.
No. I could go on and on, but yeah, it's a low budget found footage. It shows, but that's all I got. What about you? What are your low points?
Okay, the most grievous sin of this movie is the number one rule of filmmaking, and that is show, don't tell. Now, this movie, all it does is tell. It tells you a whole lot of stuff, and it gives you nothing. Right? I mean, there's lots of talk about, oh my God, it was so scary. Oh my God, this event was so scary. People were killing themselves because it terrified them so much. Okay, what was it? A guy in a robe. Okay, a guy in a robe in a haunted house was enough to scare people to death. Like this, there's nothing there. There's no meat to any of it. It's all talk. Like there's how many times do they cut to a fucking title card where it says this is completely unexplainable? Multiple times. This is completely unexplainable, and I'm sitting there like, it's a haunted house. People are making a haunted house. How is this unexplainable? You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? It doesn't make any sense. Like, again, even if it's not the people making that movie or making the haunted house, do you think maybe it's the city people that are coming out to this rural town to fucking take over their hotel to like abuse it, to make it a fucking haunted house, to make all these people come to their town and think about their hotel they would rather forget? Maybe it's one of those people. I mean, there is like multiple explanations that you can come up with in the 5 seconds of scene that you're shown.
Well, see, they're very terrified of haunted things at their haunted house they're making.
I'm just, yeah. And again, that's another thing on my list here is like, wow, do they scare easy, right? Like they are supposedly making haunted houses for a living, and they're terrified of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're jumping in scary, like, oh my god, does it like again, the dude hides under his fucking blanket like he's a 4-year-old. Like because he sees a girl in his room.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, dude. Like, what is a most likely scenario here? That you're gonna hide under your blanket and the monster is gonna get you, or it's like some junkie that wandered in your house because it was an abandoned house.
Correct.
Like, what the fuck do you? What is the explanation here? Again, that pisses me off so much when you have to, again, with your title cards, tell me how I'm supposed to feel about a scene that you're about to show me. That's not how you do it. You know, like Blair Witch. Did they have a sign saying you need to feel scared when you watch this?
No.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't do that. They just said, here is the footage that they found. You judge for yourself. And that's how you do found footage. That's what it's supposed to be. You make your own decisions based on what you're presented with. And this is like they had a narrative going into it and they want you to feel that way. So they tell you to feel that way. I don't like that. I don't like being told what I should be feeling while I'm watching the film. And it pissed me off a lot. The generic, I mean, again, you could tell somebody went down there with spray paint and spray painted a pentacle on the wall, going like, look, Satan worshippers. And they're like, that's the wrong way, idiot. You know, like the pentacle is the good one. Oh. So then he
Right.
goes to the next wall and then does it upside down and is like, oh, let's put an upside down cross next to it so they know for sure. You know, it's all in one color. There's no other colors used down there. So you know it's just some generic dude going down there trying to make it scary. It's not like, you know, it's not like you know, people, you know, actually being down there like junkies down there or people doing scary things down there. It's just some generic idiot trying to be scary, right?
I mean,
Um
let's face it. Every time you go to a place where there's graffiti, there's always a pentagram.
right. It's like it's not scary at this point. I don't know what, but it's like that's how it was in the 80s. If they saw a pentagram, satanic cult, they're killing our babies. You know, like that's immediately what they jump to, and it's like what they immediately jump to in this film too. It's like
Mhm.
this is supposedly like 30 years after the Satanic Panic, and you guys are still like terrified of a pentagram, like spray painted on the wall in white spray paint with a clearly lighted room. It's like it wasn't even dark down
Once again, the people that make haunted houses for a living.
there. Yeah. Okay, they had two people that they were interviewing like for like the documentary part of it. One
Mhm.
guy was the author. He was okay. I think the biggest part of that thing was is like as soon as he mentioned some like gossip or rumor, like as soon as he mentioned that, it was then fact from that point forward.
Yes.
Like and the photographer guy, if there was anybody that needed to get punched in the face, it was that guy. That guy was such a smug fuck. Like he knew fucking everything. But he's like, I went in the house and I saw some blood on the floor and I took pictures of it. But I was too scared to go in the basement. But I know everything.
Yep.
What the fuck do you know? You wouldn't even go in the basement. That's where it happened. The only footage you have, like the person that was on that tour already filmed all the places you took pictures of. You did nothing.
Yes.
But this guy is such a smug ass. But again, either one of those guys say anything about a rumor or gossip or, oh, we heard it might be this. From that point forward, it's fucking fact. And that's basically how this franchise works. As soon as they think up of some goofy thing, it's now fact from that point forward. Even if it doesn't make sense going backwards, that doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Going forward, this is now the truth because we thought of it and it's super cool. Um, yeah, again, we already talked about hiding under the blanket. We already talked about how easy they scare. And again, I'm going to double down on don't fucking tell me what's unexplainable because it's very easily explainable. And you're just, you know what I mean? You just told me how bad your movie was by telling me this is unexplainable. Bullshit. That's it.
That's it. All right.
Okay, so Hell House LLC 2016. This week we're doing clown masks because they're in all of them. It's the same clown masks. So you want me to go first? You want to go first?
You can go first.
Hell House LLC. Oh, how I dislike the. I'm trying to like put these together and what scores I want to give them. I will give this movie a 2.5. 2.5 clown masks out of 10.
Yeah, the first one so far is the best from what I've seen of this trilogy.
I agree with you.
um, I don't know. Obviously, there's a lot of holes. There's a lot of stuff. There's someone that does found footage indie movies too. It's stuff like that I want when I watch movies. I go, I want to be different than X, right?
Yeah, and as long as you're following the rule of show, don't tell, don't put a fucking title card up being, you should be scared now.
Right.
As long as you don't do that, you'll be fine.
I will give him merit just because it is hard to make a movie. So I will give it 6.5 clown mask out of 10. I will watch it again. I have no problem with this one. So it's right on that cusp that it's something I could like be on my phone and put on. So I have no problems with it for that reason.
All right. Hell House LLC 2 colon the Abaddon Hotel from 2018. Take it away, Graveyard.
Yes, I will say that it makes no sense to have the LLC because it's not Hell House anymore. Throwing it out there.
Well, I highly doubt that they like incorporated the name Hell House, but I don't know where that comes from. Probably because Hell House was already taken.
It's I think so.
Yeah, so that's probably why.
So Abaddon Hotel takes place. It's over a year or so ago because they're like it's been 3 years since the footage was released, right? So this 2009 is about 2016 in this movie, and now it's a group of people that are just going, "Hey, we have this unsolved mysteries. I'm sorry, whatever mysteries, right?
Morning
TV
Mysteries.
morning mysteries, where the woman clearly not in front of Hell House or the Abaddon Hotel in front of a green screen is interviewing.
No, no, no. There was a spooky person in a hood behind her. It's not. She could not have been on a green screen. She was really scared.
Sure. I mean, I'm saying for real life in this film, she was in front of the green screen.
No, come on. It's all real.
So they're kind of talking to. She's talking about this, what happened. She's doing this investigation. It's in Morning Mysteries, talking to essentially like the town lawyer, the Abaddon town lawyer, Mitchell, who survived their first movie, the guy who found that they were dead, and his boss went to there, and discount medium guy that was just there to be color commentary, saying ghost hunting's not for the amateurs, for professionals like him. Kind of going back and forth about whether if it's real, if the guy the guy who owned the hotel really did this. Like all these people are missing, so maybe they're just trying to sell their DVDs. It's been 7 years, and we kind of intermix with people that are going to Abaddon Hotel trying to be spooky and like, here's the last known recordings. Here's a guy who's a YouTuber went there and saw a pair of legs on the stairs, like I'm sorry, I shouldn't be here, and then proceeds to stay on his phone until dusk with his camera dying out in the same spot. Intermix that with the I guess 2 investigators and their camera guy from inside.com. They're trying to find out what really happened at the Abaddon Hotel when the incident or malfunction happened at the first Hell House opening night. And eventually, we get cuts to Mitchell going, "Oh yeah, let's go in here. Here, we're gonna go through this. We're gonna go through this back way. They don't know us because there used to be a fair here, right?" And that'll come, spoiler alert, in number 4. They're already laying the groundwork for that right there. And so eventually they go there and like, oh man, there's still blood here. Well, hey Molly, you gotta stay outside in case the cops come on this walkie. Cool. Well, they didn't know about the secret refrigerator in the basement where they held all the real tapes of what really happened. The cops somehow, in the 7 years, didn't clean up the blood, didn't remove anything from Hell House opening night,
Oh,
other than,
the cops would not clean up the blood.
well, I'm just saying that nothing's changed in the 7 years since the 1 and 2 are supposed to take place.
Right. Yeah, like all the mannequins are still there.
Yep.
Like all the lights and spooky cobwebs and everything is still exactly where it was.
Yeah. The bottles of wine, everything's there. So there's like, oh man, I can't believe we're doing this. You cut back and forth between all the stuff back to, I can't think of her names. The main woman that's being interviewed by, I guess, cops. I don't know. They never explicitly state. Then spooky stuff starts happening to them. Imagine that. So eventually you find out like Mitchell is like, oh, I swore I'd never go here, but there's something in his past that may be tied to it. It's like, oh, here's that song, dun 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 dun, whatever, right? Going back and forth. Eventually, the psychic or medium comes in. He's like, "Don't worry, I got this." He pulls out essentially the what's that called from the Ouija board with the seeing glass?
Oh, it's like he says with a P or something. I don't
Yeah, it's like essentially a looking glass that now he's trying to ask yes or no questions. Suddenly, nooses appear in the dining room because that's where the guy that owned the Abaddon Hotel supposed to kill himself and he started losing business.
The
And,
evil Satan worshiper.
yeah, kills himself. Yes. Eventually, they're like, "Oh, we're not gonna do this," and like I said, spooky stuff happens. They lock themselves in the room because these ghosts are able to possess mannequins and things, appear from one floor to the next without going using the stairs. Is now suddenly being trapped out of a room by a dresser against the door. Eventually, they start going through power. Um, the camera guy goes to the old tapes they had. The cops just didn't check the basement fridge for some reason. It's like, oh shit, this has really been going on here for months. Look what we found. Here's what Alex and going, hey, my business is going to shit. And this is like 6 months before the incident, the malfunction, right? I need to do this house. Cool. I need to use this hotel. Awesome. And the mystery is who's supposed to be the guy he's talking to. We don't see him. I'll spoil it right now. It's clearly the town lawyer because his voice is exactly the same.
Yeah, it's like they cut from that like to him. So there's no way for you to not know that it's him.
But it's still shrouded in mystery because the twist hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I guess.
And eventually, like they get attacked, and like Molly ends up in the basement, like with her throat to a knife with the clown. Oh, they're trying to get it. Oh, it's moving. Oh shit. They try to escape, and eventually they all kind of end up in the psychic guy and his camera guy are dead. I think they're hung. I don't know if you really see what the hell happened to them.
Yeah, they're hanging in the attic.
Okay. Like the nooses went from the dining room up into the attic.
Sure.
Right? Oh shit, they're dead. And they get back to the dining room and oh my god, it's the lawyer guy. What? He's Andrew Tully. He's the hotel owner that killed himself 30 years ago.
The evil Satan worshiper.
Yes.
You can tell because when he talks, he goes, demon voice.
Yes, he's a very high-pitched voice, then he goes into demon voice. That's very true. And then lays out the room like, I'm laying the dominoes. That someone just has to go out and get people in. And like, why'd you wait 20 years? We'll get into that. For all this to happen. It's like, all right, Mitchell, you gotta choose who's walking out. Oh, wait, they make this easy for you. They just killed Molly over here. She's dead. Now it's you or the other chick. Who's going to survive? And Mitchell just doesn't say anything and just leaves. And lo and behold, the woman that's being interviewed was dead all along. just like Sarah was.
Oh my god.
End of movie.
What a twist.
Oh, sorry. We also get some of the original cast coming back to portray people that have been taken to the lake of fire and this portal that kind of opened up a little bit in the basement where this cloaked masked guy came out, supposedly in the first one, which we didn't see.
Right. Now, very clearly, the gate to hell is the white spray painted pentagram on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where else would it be?
Yes. Yep. End of movie. Did I miss anything important there? I don't think so.
Not really, no.
Now, when we were talking about this, we always talk about what the show we're doing and before we record is apparently I had seen this one as well and completely forgotten it because I knew information that was revealed in this movie after watching only the first one. I knew kind of the things that happened, so I had to have watched it.
I don't know if there's anything. I don't know if I would consider it revealed. it's not. It's not like it takes a fucking genius to figure out what's happening.
I mean, you're not wrong, but you know what I mean. Like, I still kind of feel like I knew, like I remembered things or whatever that I had to have watched it. So, um, yeah, I mean, is it a continuation of the first one? Yes. Did it take the seeds laid from the first one? They're like, all right, now we got to pay this off later. Yes. And while doing research for this episode too, the creator of this says he envisioned this 1, 2, and 3 to each be a chapter in a trilogy of like a play. Like chapter 1 is the setup. Chapter 2 is where you get a lot of stuff to the climax, the change, and number 3 is the third act of this with the resolution, which you can kind of see it, knowing that. But this is your first time watching. What are your first thoughts?
Yeah, I mean it's the same shit. This is the first one. Again, they have several title cards in this one saying this is totally unexplainable.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much explainable. I don't I don't understand what is unexplainable about it.
What's unexplainable is why the hell Mitchell went in there.
Well, that's not unexplainable. He was trying to get with that chick.
Oh, I guess.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't take a genius. She was an attractive young woman, of course. Yeah, they. That was one of the things that I. Well, you want me to? No, you go ahead. You go do your high points. I'll talk about it
later. All right. So, high points is. I mean, did it add lore? It did. Was I necessarily angry with the lore added? No. I mean, they kind of built the groundwork of lore at least. So I do appreciate that. It really, and like now that you know what happens in this movie, you have to go back and rewatch the first one and you're like, wow, Alex really fucked them over. He's a douchebag, more so now.
Well, I mean, that was just clearly a retcon that wasn't meant to happen.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's as soon as something happens, it was always that way, even if it doesn't make sense going backwards.
And I think I know an homage that potentially could be in there if I'm giving them a lot of credit is the idea of the ghosts, whatever, coming out of the house to attract people. It gave me very much House on Haunted Hill vibes. If you remember the 1999 remake, right?
I think they just had to have an excuse as to why idiots would wander into the house.
I mean, that's entirely possible too, but I will give
I think it's a stretch saying they did it on purpose for any other reason other than they wanted to lure people into the house and have other locations for things to happen instead of the fucking house all the time.
Yeah. So maybe I'm reaching deep for that one, but
I
Um,
don't think this movie did any reaching at all. That's why I say that.
well, those are my highlights. What about you?
Um. Okay. Well, I'll complete my thought that I was having before. Is that essentially because the morning mysteries that the blonde, the attractive blonde calls in and goes, "I'm going to go in that house no matter what," right? And so she
Hmm.
kind of like piques the interest of Mitchell, who wants to go talk to her to find out because she supposedly has information or something. And so
Right.
he wants to go talk to her to find out what's going on, right? So she's an attractive young woman, right? And
Hmm.
she's planning on like breaking into this house to go find some shit with her and like a girl who like is literally described as coming from the town from Footloose, who's like
Yeah.
very sheltered and does not really understand like the world and how it works. So it's like those two are gonna like break into the house by themselves. So like yeah, they're like babe in the woods, right? So like yeah, obviously she's attractive. He's probably like, yeah, okay, we'll see how this works out. And he's the only one. Again, this is another fucking stretch. Well, you watched all the footage, so you know the layout of the house. Uh I mean, like, I've seen movies a lot of times. Like, could I draw like an architectural drawing of what the houses look like in movies I've seen more than once? I don't think I could. You know what I mean? There's lots of places that they didn't go into.
I've seen Tokyo in movies, therefore I can walk
Right.
there
It's
by
like
myself.
it's a hell of a fucking stretch. But that's how this franchise does stuff. They just like they come up with this idea and then it's a fact.
All right.
It's just as soon as it's like alluded to or rumored, like boom, fact. Just as we go forward, that's just the way it is. And people will, literally capitalize on that fact later with no evidence at all, except for it was mentioned earlier, so it's got to be a fact. But anyway, so that whole thing came together as kind of like a heist movie, right?
Hmm.
Because they were talking about, oh, the cops only leave this place open to like 10 minutes. We got to like sneak in at that time. I thought that was interesting. That the heist aspect of it, like them like having to sneak in, break into the house, that I thought was fun, right? Actually had a purpose to get in there. I mean, it doesn't make sense that the police would not have found that room because like the quote unquote event happened in the basement. The fucking freezer was in the basement.
We're gonna
The,
search
the,
every
yeah,
house,
the door
everyone's
handle
house,
was clearly
except
visible. Yeah, there was nothing blocking the door handle. It was clearly visible.
yeah.
And the footage that they did have showed them opening that door. So you know what I mean? Because the we're talking this is the footage from the first movie. That's the footage that the police had, supposedly. There's
Right.
more that they got later, but that footage they had already. So it shows them opening the door. There's no excuse as to why they would not have known it was there.
Yeah.
Again, this whole thing, I know we talked about it a little bit earlier. This whole thing smells to me like a how the modern day conspiracy theories work, right? Where it's like some nutbag comes up with this conspiracy theory. The people involved, like the families of the victims, don't want anything to do with it because it doesn't make sense, right?
Hmm.
The authorities and the police don't want anything to do with it because it doesn't make any sense. So they won't give them any information. They won't give them any help. So what do the conspiracy people do? Instead of just going, oh, well, I got no evidence and no way to investigate this, I guess I'll just give up. Yeah, right. No, they make up these crazy, elaborate fucking stories as to what happened and what's going on. And that's what this movie feels like. It feels like somebody just made up some crazy bullshit story and they're like trying to force it to happen. Like, oh, that's why I'm saying, like, completely unexplainable my ass. It's like these people are doing this on purpose to try to like make themselves famous or try to prove their crazy conspiracy theory right. But again, the fact that none of those victims' families, there's supposedly 15 dead people, they couldn't get one member of any of their families to be involved. And like none of the police or the town would have anything to do with them. Like the whole thing reads like a conspiracy.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like completely unexplainable is wrong. There's like at least three plausible explanations for everything that happens here. Sorry, I went off on a tangent there. So I did like the idea of there's the one guy that was like stuck in the house and like the mom kept getting like scary text messages,
Hmm.
like oh they have no eyes, and but it was like days later after he was disappeared and they couldn't find him, and she was getting like emails with like videos of him that he had taken of himself and shit like that. Like that concept of kind of like modern day technology being put in like a found footage thing, I think is interesting. I don't think it's used enough.
Right.
It's an interesting concept. It's a it's something that was actually kind of fun and like hey, that's an interesting thing. Like he disappeared on this day. We're getting texts and videos weeks later. And like he's very clearly not in the house at that time. Like that is interesting. Easily faked, right? But
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Again, I talked about the heist movie. I thought that was pretty interesting, and yeah, like you said, the starting to get the town lore involved.
Hmm.
It's pretty light in this movie. They don't really get into much. They kind of do the whole, because Mr. Satan shows up, that's all the evidence you need is basically the way that they go. But I mean, we're starting to get inklings as to where it's going.
Right.
Okay, let me roll in my low points here.
Yep.
Yeah, like I said, the modern, texts and emails, it's easily faked, right? That's the opposite side of that. It's fun, but easily faked. Somehow, I think the acting is worse in this movie than it was in the first movie.
Yes, I agree with one person in particular.
I wouldn't say more than one, but sure. Um, okay, like the ghosts in this can now time travel somehow.
Yes.
Like the one kid that got lost in there, that was the guy that was sending the ghost texts. Um like they found of course they found some bullshit like Christmas video of the kid like playing his piano from like 20 years ago, right? Of course he was playing the Hell House song on his Casio keyboard, and then he was talking about how they're all gonna die on October 8th, 2009 or whatever. It was some bullshit, right? Like, okay, this never came up. Like, no one ever talked about this. Like, uh, when that shit happened, do you not think that that kid would have immediately blown up all of social media showing, look, I predicted this?
Oh yeah.
Like, there's no fucking way that we would only be finding out about this from his mom after he went in the building. There's no way. That's not how fucking millennials work. They would be telling fucking everyone all over their social media constantly. But yeah, so the time travel ghost shit was just stupid. I don't. They didn't even do it. It didn't even matter. Like it
Nope.
didn't even do anything. They just like made up bullshit. It's annoying. I mean, you have the ghost, the girl of who supposedly hitchhiked there, right? And then they go down in the basement and they see the same girl with like contacts in, and they're terrified.
Yes.
It's like it's the same girl. What are you afraid of? Yeah, again, the same girl who weighs like 100 pounds, and you're somehow afraid of her. I don't know where the fear comes from in this movie. Um, okay, the mayor guy or the fucking lawyer guy or whatever is a fucking Scooby Doo villain.
Oh, easily.
I mean, like, I swear to God, I was waiting for somebody to take his mask off.
Let's
Like,
see who he really
yeah,
is.
exactly. I was really waiting for that. Like, he was such a generic Scooby Doo villain. I was like, yeah, you fucking kidding me with this shit. Yeah, he was very generic. I think his acting was okay. I think it was just the way they presented him in the writing and his goofy demon voice. Like, okay, sure, dude, you're super scary. Okay, here's another fucking thing. As soon as they get scared, where do they go?
Up.
Upstairs. Every time. There's like 4 doors to get out of the building. And like, oh, we're scared. Run upstairs where there's no way out. Every time. Why do you keep going upstairs? Like, go upstairs, barricade ourselves in. Just go out the front fucking door.
It
Oh
has
well,
no doorknob.
yeah, there's the door shut and there's a scary ghost mannequin next to it. Like, just fucking do a drop kick on the thing and kick the door open. What are you doing? If you're afraid for your life, like, try fighting for it. Jesus. And then the ending exposition I thought was very weak. Like, you get nothing like the whole movie, and then all of a sudden at the very end, guy pops out, like I said, like a Scooby Doo villain, and like literally monologues his whole plan. You know, of course he's on camera monologuing his whole plan. It was just a big switch from like the goofy jump scares that like the entire franchise has been up to that point, and now it's somehow Scooby-Doo villain monologuing.
I need people,
Right.
souls from the lake of
It was
fire.
like it just felt like such a lame switch. It was just like, okay, we're totally changing what kind of movie this is at the last minute. Like that, sure, I guess. But yeah, that's all I got. What do you got?
Oh, I completely agree in everything you said. I point out, like I said, I'm not necessarily a great actor. Neither was Molly.
Yeah.
And I like when the guys disappear, and the cops are like, the texts are coming from inside the hotel.
Right. Like, uh,
Uh,
you wouldn't know exactly where they're coming from.
Correct. It's like there's a hotspot in the hotel. They're like, his phone was on this hotspot. Fuck no. You do not know it's coming from inside the hotel. It's like they're trying to play off like the calls are coming from inside the house. No,
Yeah.
it's not. You can't, you still can't do that.
Yeah,
This is
it's
20.
taking off of this tower. Okay, there you go. That
It's
doesn't mean that hotel.
it's like probably the only tower in the entire fucking town. Like no, it's bullshit. Um, I also will call out that his cell phone that he was recording on lasted 12 plus hours of recording and broadcasting at the same time. No, there's no way. And for it being a cell phone, and this is 2016, he definitely had some 1080p shit on his cell phone. Like his cell phone's not that good quality to be in a shitty town with shitty cell service in this house. There's no way it'd be that good of quality. Make it look like a cell phone if you can use a fucking cell phone. um said yes, I understand why Mitchell went in the house. I don't think he should have gone in there, considering he's like the only one that fucking survived. He knows everyone disappeared in it. I wouldn't go.
You know, your your secondary brain will make you do strange things sometimes.
Yeah.
I feel for him. I understand what he was doing.
And then him getting called out, like, you knew something was going to happen. What the fuck do you think is going to happen? You're supposed to be an investigative journalist for Inside.com. You found all the stuff that really happened. All these 15 people died. Other people disappeared. Other people went in there and disappeared. And you're very confused because Mitchell thought something was going to happen.
Right, like everyone should have known something was going to possibly happen.
Right.
I mean, rolling the dice, sure, but like you should not have been shocked to hear that.
Right. Yeah. And of course, psychics, mediums, bullshit. He was just the arrogant asshole.
Yeah, he died almost immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever. That's what I got.
All right. Hell House LLC 2 2018. I'll go ahead and go first. Liked it less than the first one. So we're going to go with 1.5 ghost clown masks out of 10.
I said I know I'm more lenient on independent found footage movies than you are, and I accept that.
If it was good, I don't care what the effects look like, man. It's not about money. It's about quality
Story.
Entertainment.
Yes.
Just because you don't have money doesn't mean you can't make things make fucking sense.
Correct.
It takes $0.
Correct. It's definitely worse. So I will go down to 5.5 clown masks out of 10. All right. What we got next?
All right, so now we do Hell House LLC 3. The Lake of Fire from 2019,
aka montage. The
aka Scarface McBillionaire saves the day. Yeah, so essentially now a year, or I don't know, does it say how long? Whatever.
It's been a year since the
Yeah,
last one. Yeah.
it's a year later, and the hotel was going to be demolished, but at the last minute, Scarface McBillionaire decides to buy the hotel and make it a community theater.
Right. And we got inkling to him in the second. So his groundwork was laid out for him. His initials and his media group, right?
Sure, I don't know what you're talking about. So anyway, the he buys this hotel and he makes it a community theater, and he's putting on a modern day rendition of Faust,
Mm-hmm.
which is, if you don't know, about the devil trying to like make a deal for a guy's soul. So it's like all these actors like living in this house, like they're making it look like the set, and they're acting, and they're living inside the house, they're practicing, rehearsing, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. Opening night is coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how this concept would work.
Well,
But
by all these actors, you mean three?
well, there's at least four.
Maybe it's only four. No, there's the guy who's playing the devil, who's also the bartender.
The guy who's playing the devil, the guy who's playing Faust, the girl with the crazy hair, and then the girl who quit.
Okay. Well, they still only put
We
out
don't
three
see the
people.
girl who quit doing anything, but
No,
they do specifically say they need to hire someone else after she leaves.
and they
So
don't.
she was supposedly doing something.
Right.
So there's at least four of them. I don't. We only see like really two of them acting. We don't ever see the girl acting. She's there, but she doesn't
Right.
ever do anything. I mean,
Right.
in those scenes, she does talk outside of the actual play, but like in the play, she doesn't actually do whatever. It doesn't matter. So they're practicing for this, play. They're not actually spending the night in the house. Scarface McBillionaire does not want them being in the house at night. He says they're explicitly forbid from going in the house at night.
Mm-hmm. And the
Um,
basement.
and especially the basement. Well,
Yes.
yeah, they're not allowed to go in the basement during the day, but they're not allowed to go in the house at all at night.
Right.
And so, as they're practicing and stuff, and they go out and get drunk after the show. Well, I guess we should talk. He brings in a film crew, the girl who is the new host of Morning Mysteries.
Because the other one disappeared.
Did she disappear? Or did she just quit? I don't think they didn't say anything. She just says she's the new host. They didn't say what happened to the old host.
AKA the original didn't come back.
Well, yeah, I knew that's what it was. I was like, did I miss something? Did they actually say where? Whatever it is. She comes in she's like kind of doing a behind the scenes kind of like filming of, with the mystery of the house, and that, what the house is being used for now, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
She hands everybody in the house a camcorder and tells them to use it. It's just an excuse as to why there's all these different views of things and
Well, at
found
least
footage
we
things.
have reason. At least there's a reason for it.
No, yeah, I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying that's the the hand waving as to why we get all these angles for found footage and stuff, even though it's a community theater. There's no cameras. So it's her and her cameraman are brought into this house of all the actors. So it's all the actors, Scarface McBillionaire, his like head of operations guy, and then I don't know what was the other dude. Was he just like his assistant?
The only one that wore his media group's initials on his shirt.
No, he was the head of operations guy.
Yeah,
The other dude.
He was the director.
Oh, okay. I was like, I knew he had like I knew he was like in the inner circle, but I just didn't know what he was supposed to.
Talking about the big guy, yeah,
Yeah.
His director.
Okay. That makes sense. So those are the other people that are in the house that aren't part of the actors. Anyway, so predictably, they all get drunk at this bonfire outside of the house, and of course they get drunk, and so they all dare each other to like go in the house, right? So the one girl with the crazy hair goes in the house and she goes into the basement and she like kisses one of the clowns because the clowns are still down.
Still,
Yeah, the clowns leaning against the wall are still down there. So she goes down there, she kisses one on the nose,
but
and
not
then
Chuckles the clown. I mean, not the right clown.
yeah, not the guy that keeps walking around. It's one of the middle guy, the one that
Yeah.
haven't seen move yet. So anyway, so something like appears behind her, whatever. She gets the crap scared out of her. She leaves.
Yes.
Um, for some reason, she doesn't leave, but the other girl does.
Yep.
I don't understand how that works. I don't know if they fucked up or something. I don't know, but she doesn't leave. The one who experienced the fear doesn't leave. The other girl that was she was present, not in the house, but she was present at the bonfire. She gets upset and leaves. And at this point, we start getting background info to like McBillionaire guy is like, oh, he's a lot of banks are calling him. Oh, like a lot of money's being moved around, but like nobody knows what's really going on. Like, everybody's afraid they're going to get paid. Like the head of his operations is like, what's going on? There's all kinds of these calls coming in, like your companies are going under, and we don't know what's happening. And then they're talking about, oh, we got to rehire the actress with like a week before the opening day, blah blah, whatever. We're just finding out that different things are going on. So more spooky kind of things are happening, but nothing spooky enough to scare people away because they're still staying out at night and nobody's going in the basement. So essentially what happens is right before opening day, they all have like a big dinner party thing. And the investigator, Morning Mysteries lady, she finds out that there's more going on. Like McBillionaire whispers something in her ear. We don't know what it is, but it triggers her being like, "Oh, we got to go talk to this priest."
Yeah.
The priest was introduced a little bit earlier, and he was kind of like generic, being like, "Yeah, I know Scarface McBillionaire. What about it?" And that was it.
Right.
Enough for him to like inject his religious horse shit into the film, which annoyed the shit out of me. But anyway, he was pretty minor up to that point. So
Mhm.
she immediately goes to like stalk this dude, it was nighttime when she left, and she caught him in the morning. So were they sitting there all night long waiting for him? I don't maybe I don't know. It doesn't matter. So she goes in to go talk to him. Oh, off the record, what's going on? And he basically says, I don't know the whole story, but Scarface McBillionaire gave me all of his money, and I'm supposed to give it to charity at midnight tonight,
Yeah.
like after the open house, what do you call it, opening night.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, that's weird. So she goes back to, she immediately like publishes an article on the internet
Yep.
um saying that happened. So then everybody is like messed up, but Scarface McBillionaire still makes the play go on, even though now there's like definitely something fucking going on and everybody knows it. But
Well,
everybody's like, oh well, we're still getting paid. We're all getting paid double now. So
we're making good money for this off Broadway.
right, yeah. So we're getting paid double what the good money we're getting paid before. So everybody's still on board. So they move forward with opening night. Again, how this community theater works is weird to me. It's like people show up and it's like they just kind of wander around the house. Like I don't know what, there's like scenes happening, but like there's only like a couple people there. And
And
like
there's people waiting outside. I'm knowing that right now. There's people waiting outside for the next
right.
show.
People waiting outside. There's people like they have people like filming themselves like away from the actors, like just wandering around the house. And there's people that are guests there just wandering around.
Look at these wine bottles with his name on it.
Right. It's like there's scenes happening in the other room. Didn't you pay to see the show? Like, what are you doing? Like this whole concept doesn't make any sense, and I don't understand what's happening. But that's
We'll get to
whatever.
that.
Yeah. So anyway, so they're going on. They're the acting in the fucking show or whatever. And then of course, like later on, the door to fucking hell opens in the basement and all the fucking hood creatures come out and there's like a big bloodbath.
They start stabbing and biting.
Yeah. And I use that term very loosely because it is like probably some of the shittiest blood I've ever seen in a film. Like, I know it's found footage and it's got a low budget, but holy shit, man. It was like watered down ketchup and they're just like throwing it at the wall. Like, there's one scene you can literally see a guy squirting it at the wall.
Mhm.
Like, he's just sitting there off camera squirting it at the white sheeted wall. It
Well,
was,
that's why the white sheet's there.
yeah, I know. It was very, very bad. Anyway, so these, evil Satan worshippers come out of the basement and they're all like killing everybody. Evil Satan man comes out and starts monologuing again. That he's, once the door to hell is open, it can never be closed, blah, blah, blah. I'm taking over the world. Thank you, Scarface McBillionaire, for making it happen. Oh my God. The big twist is Scarface McBillionaire was there from the beginning, right? They show,
Mhm.
the meeting of all the 5 friends from the first movie talking about how they're going to go to the Abaddon Hotel and make a haunted house, and they cut over. Oh, he's sitting at the table right behind him. He knew
Ah,
about it the whole
he didn't have a
time.
scar then. Okay.
Yeah, no, no, he did.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, they do say that he got the scar in 2008.
Oh, okay.
So it is right. The first one happened in 2009. So it is right before that happened. So we get it cut into the second movie. It was like when the blonde hair girl and Molly were at the bar planning the heist with Mitchell. They go out the door, and who's there right at the door? Oh my God, it's Scarface McBillionaire. He was there the whole time. The whole big twist is he's been planning this thing from the start, and he's been working with Evil Satan Man. And then Evil Satan Man says, "Oh, thank you. We're opening the door to hell. Thanks for bringing all these people here. We're gonna kill him and eat him." And then they have a I use the term loosely struggle. To where somehow Scarface McBillionaire closes the door.
Mhm.
We can't really see what's happening because really, really bad CGI fire happens, and we can't see behind it. But all of a sudden, after that, we cut to like the author guy explaining, "Oh yeah, it's completely unexplainable what happened." Blah blah. Of course, bullshit. And then after that, they're like, "Oh, wait till you see what comes next." We call that the Abaddon tapes, and then it starts doing like an intro for another movie at the end of this movie, and it's like they're in the house, but it's like all like lit up and like bright looking, and it's like all the people from the fifth movie are like, "Oh, are you guys okay? Like, I thought we died. I guess not. I guess we're all okay."
Look, we did die.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, we did die. Let's get out of here. Oh, we can't open the door. There's no doorknob. Oh my God." So they're all like, freaking out. So then Scarface McBillionaire appears and he's like, "Oh, yeah, I saved all you guys. I closed the door to hell, but now you guys got to go move on to your better place." Cut. End of film.
Yep.
Yep. So that was that.
That's if you believe in that sort of thing,
Right.
as the
But
author said.
I think the most shocking thing there is like, oh, the cameras work in purgatory?
Mhm.
That's interesting. Like, one, how do you get a camera in purgatory? Two, how do you get the tape back out of purgatory?
It goes to the cloud.
Right. And so, like, oh, maybe they'll explain it in the next film. The next film is a fucking prequel.
Yep.
So it doesn't explain anything. And, they very clearly say the next one is going to be the Abaddon tapes, and they literally give you a fucking intro for it at the end of this film. And the next one is not even that.
Hell yeah.
So, like, what the fuck? I don't know.
So what was your first thoughts on this then?
Yeah, it's right in line with the other fucking two. But I think the community theater makes absolutely no sense.
It's
I
interactive.
No, it's not.
I know it's not. They say it's supposed to be interactive, but it's really not.
Like, there is no way. Okay, like I've been to like a Shakespeare in the Park that was an interesting thing where it's like you watch a scene of the play, right? And then
Mhm.
like, the next scene is like you get up, you move, you walk down the path, to like where the next scene is going to be, and it's like it happens at a certain time. You have a little program, it tells you what time it starts, and then it's like at the next scene the scene starts, right? And that's, I get that you're moving around, you're walking around, there's time to like, explore in between and shit like that. That makes sense to me. Okay, that is one way to experience a play. I get it. This in a fucking haunted house, like with wandering corridors, and you're supposed to like accidentally catch scenes that are out of order.
Yeah,
Like
no.
what the again, if it was like a guided experience, that would be one thing. But again, we clearly see people just wandering around the house. Like they're not I don't know what they fucking paid for. They paid to just wander around with these goofy
Mhm.
masks on. I don't understand the concept. I don't understand what's happening there. Like obviously he's been doing this play before because he said this we're opening it out here, but it used to be in the city. So in the city, I'm sure they had the play set up. Did they have it in a house there with wandering hallways? I doubt it.
I doubt it too.
So how the fuck does that translate? And why wouldn't they ever talk about that?
Well,
Again, it's so loosely badly done that it's infuriating. It was like I spent most of my time watching this film trying to figure out what the fuck this theater thing was all about.
right.
So I
Yeah.
got
Yeah. It's an interesting capstone to the trilogy. I will say that. It thinks it's tying it up loosely. It attempts at least, but I guess there's that. Do you want to go to your highlights first?
sure.
Yeah.
Scarface McBillionaire's office was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was sitting in the electric chair, and then like his like desk was like the rack table that still had blood on it. What about your highlights?
Faust is a good story
It is
if
when
done
you
right.
watch it in order.
Yeah. Um, I guess it, like I said, it does cap it off his trilogy. Mitchell's not dead. Maybe they never explain. He just they say he's disappeared. Didn't say he. I mean, he left. So is Mitchell coming back in the sequel for Abaddon tapes? I don't know, but it's interesting that he's still potentially alive. The hotel's gone, but it also went to purgatory. I guess. Is it
Yeah.
burned down? There's nothing left. Hey, we're gone all the time. I mean, I did appreciate they brought back the OG 5, right? When they're going to show the spooky things. And like, oh, look. Oh, shit. It's that guy. Oh, it's Alex. Oh, it's Jeff. Oh, it's Sarah. And they're the ones that are being the spooky entities for the things that, like the scenes that they see or the camera setups and shit like that. I will
I
go ahead.
think they should have like not paid them and like paid for some better effects.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a better use of their money.
I'll roll into my low points that we discussed before. I'll say it here. The guy's scar. It's random, sporadic. Sometimes
Yeah,
kind of bloody in the middle.
it is
Sometimes
lame.
it's not.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's
sometimes it looks like clay just stuck to his face.
Yeah.
It's like clearly raised like 2 inches past his face.
Yeah. Okay. Obviously, this is what 20, 25 minutes of clip shows in the movie.
You know, that is my number one. And I underlined it 3 times, and I also drew a big old box around it because I was getting so fucking angry.
Yeah. Okay. So it's supposedly Insomnia, the production company, this interactive thing, right? As we discussed about the play doesn't make sense. All right. You're standing the entire time and walking around. Maybe you'll catch scenes. I think it's because where the fuck do they have room to sit people down to do an actual play? They don't. That's why they're just wandering this cramped hallway. That they don't know where to go. There's no markings of where to go. There's no coordinator of where to go. It makes zero sense. And like I said, standing while watching this play. And then you're also standing in line for the next one. There's people fucking outside. Like, how short is this play? Like, how are they making money off of this?
Yeah, again, this is I don't understand. There are so many other things you could have done.
Yeah.
Community theater is like the most nonsensical thing I could think of to put in this hotel.
Yeah. And what do they change? We put a white drape here in this hallway. Cool.
Yeah. It's like, why don't you just make it like a tech incubator? Right? It makes just as much fucking sense. Like, why would you ever do that? It doesn't make sense. Right. There's way better places to do it. I agree.
I don't know. The backyard.
Right. Anywhere is better. Outside in a field is better than inside this
Right.
cramped, goofy, winding house.
Because we talked about the cornfield that's adjacent to it. That used to be the fair that's there. Cool. So you're saying you have this great outside to do it, that you can have maybe the house first level be this ambiance and setting of the thing, and then you walk through it as a little thing to get to your seat. I would get that more. That would make sense to me as a play. Um, Also, millionaires just don't sit there and have that stuff all hands on for a play. He would not be there.
Of course he wouldn't.
There's no way in fuck he'd be there. And
Okay, I don't know why they went out of their way to sell him as a billionaire. A billionaire would no way. Again, like they couldn't do that because there would be people trying to talk to him all the time.
right.
He advertised that he was there.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like if fucking Zuckerberg goes somewhere, there's people that are gonna be there constantly trying to ask him for money and shit.
Right.
Like there's no like the guy doesn't have fucking privacy unless he has security, and there was no security.
Correct. And I like the end, like, okay, so we saw people get bit and stabbed, right? And at the end, it goes, luckily, all the audience is okay. I go, what? We saw them die,
Well, okay.
right?
I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? But here's what happened. Okay, I'm gonna give you the idiot version
Okay.
of what happened. This is the idiot translation of what happens here. I'm not saying I'm the idiot or you're the idiot. I'm saying whoever fucking wrote this is the fucking idiot. Now, when he wrestles evil Satan man
Mm-hmm.
and closes the door to hell, all of the people that went to hell are now saved. That is why the original 5 are in purgatory, because they died.
Right.
And now, because the door to hell was closed, now they're not in hell anymore. Now they're in this purgatory place. So that means that all of the audience people that were murdered by the evil Satan people were therefore restored to health because the door was closed and everything was reversed.
But they weren't in purgatory,
Right.
even though they should.
I don't. Maybe there's a time limit.
Maybe.
Maybe you can only be dead for less than a year and you come back and you're fine. Or if it's more than a year, you get stuck in purgatory. I don't know. I don't know what the rule is there. I'm just saying that is what happened because I had to think about it too. I was like, wait, there's very clearly lots of murder. like there could be a lot of fucking bodies in there. And they were like, nope, everybody's fine. And it was like, that is what happened. Is like the idiot way of writing it without explaining it is like when you defeat evil Satan man, all of his evil things are now canceled out.
Oh, well, shouldn't we see all the people he killed in the 80s?
You know, again, that's what I'm saying. There's got to be some kind of time limit or something. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe these Abaddon tapes are supposed to explain it to us. I don't know because, like, you know, Scarface Mick fucking billionaire died just then, and all the rest of these people died, like whatever years ago.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know.
Like 8 years ago.
I don't know. I don't know what the cutoff is. There's some kind of like sifter that they got stuck in, and everybody else fell out. I don't know.
Yeah.
We also don't know what happened to all of the journalists that went in there because there's a lot of them. We don't know what happened to them. Did they come back? Maybe. Who knows? Probably. Maybe they're in another hotel purgatory.
Is Joey the Fat Clown alive again?
I mean, he might be. I don't know. You know, again, it's like when idiots write things, it could be anything. We'll find out in the next one what's really canon or not.
There you go. All right, those are my low points. How about yours?
All right. Yeah, fake scar. Really, really bad. But yeah, the fucking clip show, dude. That was driving me fucking crazy. You know, I complain about it every time we see it in these bad fucking sequels. So where they clip show like, you know, 20 minutes out of the first movie. And it's like, okay, are you just padding for time? What are you doing? Like, film more movie. Don't give me fucking clips of the other one. I mean, it was so bad that they were like, they walked in like, look, it's a mannequin. And they cut to a fucking scene in the first movie where that mannequin was present.
Yes.
Like, I don't need a clip show introduction of a fucking mannequin. Like, I understand it's a fucking mannequin from a haunted house. I don't need that. Every single time they showed a person, an object, room, anything that was from one of the other movies. They're like, clip show, here's what it looked like in the other movie. Like every single time. It was infuriating. And it didn't stop. It didn't,
No.
it was like 45 into the minutes into the movie, and it was still doing that.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy fucking shit, dude. If you're gonna do this clip show stuff, get it out of the way the first 15 minutes or so. Like, get it all out of your system, get whatever you got to do, and then just let's move on with the story. But no, like every time they were like, "Hey, we haven't talked about that yet," and then they would do a clip show for like a bizarre scene, like, "Oh, is that Sarah?" They would just mention her name, and then they would do a clip show of what she looked like and some random scene of her talking, and then they would come back, like, "Oh, this is the bar that they were all hanging out at," and then it would cut to a scene of them drinking at the bar. Then it would go back. Yeah, you remember when they were drinking at the bar? Then it would go back to them drinking at the bar again, saying another joke, and then it would come back. And the guy was like, "Yeah, I bet you they had a lot of good times here at the bar." Then it would cut back again to the first movie. So I'm like, holy fucking shit, dude. Stop with the clips.
Yeah. And I just want to point out, obviously, we rag on this a lot too. I mean, obviously, it happened in what, Silent Daylight 2,
Oh, no, yeah, this is
Phantasm.
not the only Basket
No.
Case. You remember how many times
Yeah.
they did it in Basket Case? It's like every fucking Basket Case had at least like 20 minutes of film from the first movie every
Yes.
single time. But yeah,
Yep.
no, this is not the only movie that does it. A lot of sequels do.
Oh, yeah.
But again, we were talking about this earlier. Every movie that does clip show bullshit, bad.
Yep.
I have never seen a movie that does this clip show bullshit that has been good. Never happened. So if you want to try to like pretend your movie's good, don't do fucking clip show stuff, please. I would rather you look at a fucking wall for 10 minutes than to fucking do clip show shit. It's infuriating and it's insulting.
Yeah.
Please don't do that. Okay, so the bullshit little religion injection we got from fucking, priest Baldhead or whatever the fuck his name was. Like, seriously, dude, what is this shit? He's like, Abaddon was the guardian of the gate to hell. So some people say that this town is the guardian of the gate of hell. Again, and of course, because he said it, the way this franchise works, now it's a fact.
Yep.
And that's exactly what happened, right? Oh, Andrew Tully was the guardian of the gates of hell, and the gate of hell is in the basement of that house because there was a generic spray painted pentagram.
Then why'd he kill himself?
Yeah, fucking stupid. Yeah, the whole theater in the house, we already went over that a lot. The horrible, horrible fucking effects of those deaths of the audience members. Holy fucking shit, were they bad. The CGI hell finale thing. What the fuck was that? It was like, you ever see, like the old like Apple movies where they would like add in those goofy effects? It was like one of those. It was so bad. And of course, they had to go out of their way. Every fucking movie does this shit, and it drives me insane. Like I said, what was the movie we just saw that I praised for not actually doing this? Whatever.
For doing what?
The girl goes out of her way to say that she's an atheist. And then at the end, of course, she is now a believer.
Yes.
Because, she saw what she saw, and now she's a believer, and that's it. Oh, it was The Outpost.
Yes.
The Outpost, the guy was like, "Oh, I don't believe in this kind of shit. I believe there's a scientific explanation for everything." And in that movie there was. That was great. In this movie, it's like, I believe there's a scientific explanation for everything. This is the trope that I hate that The Outpost beat. Was that, if there's an atheist that mentions they're an atheist, by the end of the movie they won't be.
Mm-hmm.
Guaranteed. Every time. And it's no, fucking exception here. Of course, at the end of the fucking movie, she sees the gates to hell or whatever, and now she believes.
Yep.
Bullshit. And the fucking whole angel bullshit, like, I think they were trying to infer that fucking Scarface McBillionaire, when he died in his car accident, because he died for 2 minutes and then he came back, like, he became an angel. And the angel was the only one that could close the door to hell, so that's why he did it. Right? Like, I think that's what they were trying to infer. But I don't think an angel would lead multiple people to their deaths in the process. You know what I mean? I think that would kind of cancel your wings out. that you got people murdered before you could close the door.
No one said he's a good angel. People, no matter what field you're in, people are shit at their job sometimes.
I'm just saying, like, I don't think that's how angels work, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ending, I hated the ending. It was just, again, it's like, well, how do they have cameras in purgatory? And
Mhm.
how would you get the tapes from the cameras in purgatory? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just completely nonsensical. But yeah, that's what I got.
All right. You want me to go first for the olives?
Hey, sure. Why don't you do that?
All right. I will give this 5 clown masks out of 10. How about you?
It's way too generous. 0.5 clown masks out of 10.
Yeah.
It's, I'd like to have a word with the guy who did all these.
That could probably be arranged.
Like, he'll take one of those bricks from the basement and shove it up his ass. Anyway, anything else you want to add?
No. I know I'm super excited to see how the next 2 play out.
Yeah, sure. Good times.
I know, right?
So, our October spooktacular contenders next episode. We're diving into the House franchise. Yeah, just House. Nothing before or after, just House.
Mm-hmm.
There are enough entries to cover 2 episodes because there's 4, so we're doing 2 and 2. So join us as we explore more haunted houses and the unsuspecting people within them, where the stories, pun intended, or is that because there's multiple stories in a house?
Uh-huh.
Ah, wow, that's funny. Get zanier as the franchise progresses. So join us next time for House and House 2, the second story. I've never seen them.
Oh, I have.
I know you have. I get it was one of those. I know the cover of House.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it a million times. It's like the zombie hand, the dismembered zombie hand opening, like with a key opening a door.
Ding dong, you're dead.
Right. Like I remember, I saw it like 100 times. I mean, like every time I went to the video store, I saw it, but I never got it. I just had, for some reason, it did not interest me. We'll find out why. We'll find out if I was wrong or not next time. So remember, we watch bad movies, so you don't have to.
And this has been Graveyard saying, have you checked on the children?
And this is Salem saying, please don't watch the Hell House LLC franchise.
All right. Good night.
Good night.